Good morning. Whew. Hopefully, you had a great weekend. We're just going to give everybody a couple of seconds to recognize that I am online and I'm live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Luciana Turner, your Chief Compliance Officer, your Chief Strategist, working for the LT&A company, a government contracting, training, and consulting firm. I want to say good morning. I hope you had a great and restful weekend. As you come into the room, please, drop your name in the chat so I can acknowledge your presence. If you're catching this by the replay, hashtag replay, so I can acknowledge that you stopped by. If you have an idea that you would like for me to cover on the morning tidbits, please drop them in the comments or you can email them to me. The email address is in the description. So let's go for this morning's actionable item. We're discussing business lessons from 2020. And, 2020 was the year of COVID, but it was also the year of business and business change. The business landscape really changed in 2020. And it tested our resolve, it tested our mettle, it tested our dedication to even being business owners. The various iteration of shutdowns and if your business considered, essential or not, fighting for that essential title, which a lot of people didn't even realize they could have submitted documentation to argue that their business was essential. It was just a year of change and one of the things it taught us is that sometimes being in business hurts. I mean, there's just no getting around it. Sometimes being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, and seeing that thing that you built and you've worked so hard on, and just seeing it take a nosedive, um, seeing it suffer, and it had nothing to do with you. It was changing economic landscape can hurt. But I think it also, in that hurt, it was a time for us to test our resolve. It was a time for us to really take a look at what we were doing and how we were doing it to see if there were any crucial pivots or change course corrections that we could make to potentially make a difference in the outcome. Because the sad thing about what occurred in 2020 is with time, a lot of the businesses that failed, a lot of the businesses that were on the precipice of failing could have been saved. They could have turned it around. Um, but there just wasn't enough time, there just wasn't enough resources, and and it just wasn't enough time and resources for them to weather the storm. Now, some of these businesses were doomed to fail anyway. They were struggling before the pandemic, and when the pandemic hit, it just really took them over the edge. And I believe it was Kevin from Shark Tank. He did an interview where he talks about, in business, there's sometimes we're going to fail. and our business has to shutter its doors. But dare you to say, and I dare you to think, that iteration had to close, but a new iteration can open. When you, and I hate the term restart because you're not really restarting, but when you have to do it again, you're doing it again with knowledge that you didn't have when you first did it. So, for all those who have lost their businesses, on the verge of losing their businesses, take stock and take hope in this. Dig deep, take a deep breath, do some mental, emotional, spiritual cleansing. You have to dump all of the toxicity sometimes. Get a little bit of rest because unrested mind is not a creative mind. And then come back to the drawing board, and you may find there's a way to either turn it around or to start over fresh with a revised concept or revised idea. But don't get me wrong, I understand 2020 was a humdinger, and 2020 saw so many small businesses suffering while the big box giants, and I'm not anti industry, but it does seem to be a little unfair that the small businesses had to shutter and the large businesses were left open to compete unfairly and unrestricted. But that's another conversation for another day. But get some rest, do some purging, and then come back at it again. Because 2020 also taught us business hurts, but there's a comeback. And I'm challenging you to come back. Have a great rest of your day. Make every action a strategic action. If you would like to catch the replays of the other 11 days, they're on my YouTube channel. The link is in the description. If you would like to schedule an appointment to see how we could potentially work together now or in the future, get on my calendar. That link is also in the description. But have a great day.